Yvonne, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
You have done an amazing journey from becoming from a professional to an entrepreneur now. You lead a very good company called Airware that deals with drone technology. So it'll be interesting to learn from you the application of drone technology, not just in your company but across verticals. It's a great time to be in this business, and we'd love to hear from you.
Excellent. I get the question a lot in terms of what are people doing with drones. What's interesting, if you turn the clock back, the drone hardware was great for consumers, and there were certainly military applications. And what Airware focused on was the commercial space in the middle. And the challenge was the hardware itself was not where it needed to be. And what's been fascinating over the last 6 years is that companies like DJI and others have really advanced the hardware, similar to the advancements you've seen on your iPhone or your Samsung phone, your Android. And what that has allowed us to do is to move from all this work and effort and expense to get good imagery. Because fundamentally what the drones are used for is to bring in new thermal images, photographic images, to allow a new level of insight and analytics that you couldn't do before. So what's happened in the industry is we've gone from, can we even get the information, to, wow, now I have the information, what do I do with it? And that's really where we focus on. What we focus on is, if you're in insurance, you can now use that information. You can fly a drone after a hailstorm to look at a 2-story steep and what the damage is versus sending somebody up a ladder. So those are the types of things that we focus on now. And going forward, what we believe is going to happen is more and more kind of integration with other data sources and data streams. And we already see that with things around weather patterns, or if we're working with mines and quarries, the machine telemetry, what is it saying about fuel efficiency and tire wear? How does that then integrate and map to and be impacted by the layout of the site, which we can get through that geospatial data that we collect?
The next is the entrepreneurial questions. For people who are coming out with great innovation, what are their opportunities to look into the drone technology as a budding entrepreneur?
You know, there's many different places to focus on from a drone perspective. What I would say is it's a challenge with the new market. Everybody thinks drones are cool. My children think drones are cool. My old bosses think drones are cool. I think drones are cool. They are, they're neat. The opportunities are finding pieces of business value that you can now unleash by what these drones can do. So the opportunities are anything from finding new types of hardware and sensors and things that you can build that the drones can carry more economically and more feasibly, all the way through to what do you then do with that data. The hard part, though, is not the technology. The hard part is people don't typically embrace business change. And so while drone and commercial drone solutions can allow you to do jobs more efficiently, more effectively, more safely, there's big opportunities in how you actually help companies shift and adopt that technology. Everything from the creation of third-party networks that actually will fly drones for you, so you don't have to learn to do that yourself, to people who will go in and actually do the complete service. So you're not having to retrain your own workers, you can repurpose them on other things. So a whole slew of opportunities.
It's a good segue for my next question. A lot of the hopeful entrepreneurs who are professionals, have been in the industry for 10 plus years or 15 years, they all have this dream of becoming an entrepreneur. But entrepreneurship is not for the faint of the heart. It's a very long journey. As many people say, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And you have been in the industry for a long time. You've been a consultant with Anderson for many years, and then you took on the entrepreneurship route. So it'll be good to learn from you, how do you transition from being a successful professional to becoming an entrepreneur?
The transition from being a professional to an entrepreneur is it's hard. And to me, when I look back as to why I feel I've been successful is in many regards, I started being an entrepreneur even in these large companies. If I go back to my Accenture days, I helped create a new organization within Accenture that had never existed before. When I went to VMware, I took a job that had never existed before, and then created another job that had never existed before. And I did the same thing at New Relic twice over. I was the first ever CIO there, defining what it meant to be a CIO in an all-cloud company. So to me, what makes somebody a successful entrepreneur is the interest and hunger to create what is not there, to see something that others don't see, and be determined to create something out of that. And in some regards, I think that's as much what you're born with as you develop over time. But I'd encourage people, if you have that itch, if you see what others don't, and you're comfortable with risk and trying things out and failing a couple times, the rewards are really great. If you prefer running things and you love executing over and over and over again and getting better and better and better every time you do it, entrepreneurship may not be the right thing for you.
Good one. Now the women empowerment question. On one side, we see there is a lot of focus on getting women into STEM and getting them into becoming very successful entrepreneurs. On the other side, we see in places like Silicon Valley that there is discrimination from the highest to the lowest levels. Do you believe there is still a glass ceiling that needs to be shattered? Because from where most of us look, we feel that has already been shattered years ago.
It's a really delicate and challenging question when you come to the empowerment of women. I do a lot of work in this area. I sit on the board of trustees at Harvey that's made tremendous strides in increasing their population of STEM-related graduates from 6% female to in the mid-40s. I sit on the board of an organization called the Athena Alliance that helps get more women in the boardroom. And what I would say in my observation is there's a few things that we need to shift societally to truly allow for an inclusive and an empowered community. One is we need to understand, address, and change the unconscious biases. We all have them, and the best way to change them is to make it so that the net normal is what you really want. So that's where role models are important. Education and diverse teams that catch us in our own mistakes are super important. Another thing that's required is women, be it societally or not, tend to not raise their hands as much. They tend to hold themselves back. And so a lot of the work that I think is important is helping women really reach and dream big and understand that that is their right, their opportunity, some regards their obligation to lay the path for the next set of folks who are coming up through the ranks. And that's really the final piece. I think it's creating a community where we're all helping each other out. Some of my best sponsors have been white men in positions of power. They haven't always been perfect, but my belief is start from a position of trust. They want to do the right thing. They don't always. But if they don't, then educate them as to why what they said or what they did from your perspective was not the best thing in that situation. And ultimately, act accordingly. If they're open to being educated and to engage in the conversation, that's a smart place to be. But if they're not and they're defensive and they're going to kind of push you in a corner, then look for people who are going to help you rise above.
Great. Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you again. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.